Switch it up like Nintendo. It's VGC, the video game podcast, with me, Jordan Midler, and Chris Scullion. This week, well, what else would it be? But first, how's it going, Chris? How are you?
I'm a husk of a man at this point.
I've got my.
Oh, listen.
I've got my 8th wind.
I could still go 10 rounds as long as those 10 rounds are with Cilla Black.
Yeah.
God rest her.
God rest her.
No, I'm okay. It's been a good week. It's been an exciting week.
I heard Cilla Black tried to get into the Switch 2 event in Paris.
I heard that as well. But apparently they don't allow spectres in, so she didn't get in.
Her spiteful arrogance was astounding.
I was going to say allegedly, but you can libel.
You can't libel the dead. Let's do an hour on Cilla Black.
I'm not even doing the punchline I had there. No, it's been good. It's also been slightly frustrating because obviously a bunch of people have been going to Paris and New York and like getting the kind of press hands on, and it's kind of limited per publication. So Andy, who's the one in charge of cutting the straws, got the short straw. So he got to do it.
Can't believe that.
So it's one of those ones. It's great to see, but I'm still kind of itching to actually get my hands on it because, you know what it's like. People give their feedback, but until I can actually see how it feels for myself and judge the screen for myself and ignore Hogwarts Legacy for myself, like you can't really you need your own kind of personal take on it. But it's exciting.
Continue talking because my for audio listeners, video people will be able to see this. My screen's completely turned off. So
okay,
Chris Scullion, I have a question for you. As someone that knows more about Nintendo than most people on Earth, was there a part of you that was like, who are these jokers getting a chance to play this before me? Because there was one specific joker that you posted in the Slack that I was like, I agree.
Yeah, we'll not go there, but yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I understand this is a changing world that we live in, and therefore Nintendo has to choose the people who will get their system the most coverage. So there you go. It is what it is. Back in the good old days, all your entire magazine staff would be sent there to cover these things, but it is what it is.
What was that like in terms of what console/handheld launches were you about for, and how much access did you get to them before the full shebang? Because this is what 2 months ahead of the main show coming out. So
the Wii, there's a big Wii event in London. I think it might have actually been at the XL. A week or two after E3, when they first kind of properly showed the Wii off, and that was pretty full access. They did a big stage show with Iwata, and they got, I want to say it was Pat Cash and maybe Tim Henman came out on stage and played tennis with each other just because Wii Sports Tennis was there, just for no reason at all. And then Iwata was like, come on, play this. And the back wall kind of moved and you could go into the event and play they had loads of kind of Wii units up. So the Wii gave you, I mean, quite a lot of access to the Wii. And obviously Nintendo set up like a house called the Wii House.
Nice.
in somewhere in London, which was it was basically like a big 2-3 story like house in the middle of London. It must have cost them an absolute fortune, and every room in the house had loads of Wiis set up in it. So the living room had like 6 Wiis. There was a bedroom decorated in Nintendo stuff that had a Wii in there, and another bedroom with a Wii in it. For a while you had to go to the Nintendo house to play games for review, which was massively frustrating. This is like before we actually got consoles in the office. 3DS was a similar situation. They had a big event in Amsterdam, I believe.
Oh yeah, an infamous event.
We all went to that and played that. I got interviewed by was it Ortis from the Gadget Show right after it, without him realising that I worked for an official publication. Nice. And that was quite awkward because then he was live streaming it. And everyone in the live stream were going, "That's Chris from O&M," and everyone's like, "Well, that's quite fucking awkward that the one guy he chose."
I think the Nintendo 3DS is going to be a whole new dimension for gaming. Thank you.
I think you'll find that the Glasses 3D is a life changer.
Let me tell you about Pilot Wings.
for an hour.
Let me tell you about Pilot Wings for the rest of your bloody programme, Mr.
Do you know what the first game I ever played on the 3DS was?
Splinter Cell.
You'll never get it. We were queuing up to play Kid Icarus. I I always forget the name of that. I always want to say
Uprising?
Uprising. Yeah, but that seems a bit.
Is it not
militant
Uprising?
to
I
me,
thought it
but
was.
I think it is. It's maybe just Rising, but I think it is Uprising. Regardless, the last Kid Icarus game that was released, we were queuing for that at this big Amsterdam event, and in the queue there were women walking around like women that they'd paid to kind of entertain people in the queue, but not in that way.
I thought you meant women of the night. Hello, you want to come? See my Kid Icarus?
Very much women of the day. And they all had like 3DSs basically chained to them.
Yeah.
And they were coming up to you in the queue saying, "You like to play?" And you're like, yeah. So I was like, okay, so I'm standing in the queue going, "Yeah, all right, I'll play it." It's awkward because you're playing a 3DS, but you're also conscious that you're playing something that's chained to a woman.
How you doing, hen?
It's like a pretty woman situation. I'm like, do you want me to free you from this?
You worked for Nintendo for long? What is Nintendo?
3 hours. But the first game I played was Asphalt 3D.
Oh, nice.
Because that was the only game. They basically said to the woman, "Get yours fucking Asphalt.
Yeah.
Go around."
Did you ask if they had a smoke on a pancake?
Did not.
A bong and a blish?
I did not.
Austin Powers reference there. I'm not being rude to people on the video. I have the show notes on my phone. I'm not just sitting looking at blue sky. So, story number one. Before we do that, patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. We've done a million stories. Give us some money for them. Anyway, story number one. Pre-orders are going up. It seems like the UK retail chains have just went, screw it. Let's just put them all up right now. Let's put them up at random times. Let's put them up in random allocations. You got yours for Smiths, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
They seem to be first out the block. They were just like, here we go.
They just went, go for it. And I went, okay, thanks. So we'll see how that goes. I usually, when a console comes out, I like to have 2 or 3 pre-orders just in case one falls through, and then cancel them last minute when some of them start. I obviously don't like to end up. I only want one. I'm not a scalper. The only time that backfired, I ended up with 2 PS5s.
Oh, I ended up with 4 PS5s.
But luckily, I knew someone in Edinburgh who wanted one, so I just sold it to him at RRP
at cost.
Yeah,
I'm giving it to you at cost, mate. Can't go any lower than this. £500 million.
Exactly. So I'm still uncomfortable with the fact I've only got one pre-order in. And like I've applied for the Amazon one, and I didn't get the email. I didn't get the email from Nintendo because everyone knows I don't do much Nintendo. That's something we can't get into for NDA reasons, but a lot of European press won't have been invited by my Nintendo because they play games on a separate account.
Because Brexit means Brexit.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's frustrating. But so Nintendo has deemed me not enough of a Nintendo player to order a Switch to. So I've got one pre-ordered, so we'll see what happens.
I had 0 when we started recording with Andy this morning, and by the end of the record, as you will see live on the record, I now have 3 Switch 2 pre-orders, all for the Mario Kart bundle, all from Amazon, just by doing this invitation thing, and I'm pretty happy with. Did Smiths want money, or was it a pay?
They took a penny, from my account, and so they'll charge me.
This is my problem. Like, I needed a pre-order that wouldn't just soak the guts of 450 quid out my account immediately. I needed a pay on dispatch number so I can save for a couple of months. So Amazon's ideal for that. We now know that Curry's is doing in-store pre-orders as of right now. However, they want the full whack. I wonder how briefed the Curry's sales assistants will be about that. I wonder if there'll be tons of pre-orders that don't actually end up getting fulfilled because they didn't take money for it. They're just like, yeah, pre-order it, that's fine. Take a $5 deposit.
That feels like I feel like there are a few shambles waiting to happen here because it seemed the whole thing seems a bit slapdash.
Yeah,
everyone's got completely different policies, and you wonder how many of them have taken a guess on how much allocation they're getting.
So apparently Argos has done exactly that. I saw some things unverifiable, but a lot of people were saying on Twitter that they contacted Argos support because they were getting orders cancelled, and that Amazon well outsold their allocation, which not surprised
Argos,
about.
You mean?
Yeah, Argos, well outsold their allocation.
Jesus.
So I think there'll be plenty of that. Do you think
did Smiths go back? Did Smiths list them again for a while?
I don't know. I've not been keeping
I saw people yesterday talking about Smiths again, and I'm hoping that bodes well for me.
I think you'll be fine, yeah.
Because I've got in there fairly early, and I'm hoping that because they pulled them. I got the Mario Kart bundle, and they pulled them like 5-10 minutes after I got one, and I was hoping like, oh, hopefully I'm not at the end where they've over allocated. But if they've opened them again briefly, as I'd heard, then that kind of bodes well that they had more than they thought. But I don't know.
Do you think we'll be able to go into Smith's day one and get one? I think for the morning of launch, like there'll probably be like 50 in each store or something like that. I don't get the sense that there'll be none.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I know. Like be this event. This is a clip that people bring up when it becomes another PS5 situation. You can't get one for months, but certainly by Christmas, anyone who wants one for Christmas, they'll be fine. I would imagine.
That's the thing. Like, there's no PS5 came out in November, so it was like a Christmas item and the new console and the pandemic. So it was a whole nightmare. Although, as I said, I had 4 PS5s. Sold all of them to pals, and I regretted it immediately because of the price of PS5s. Yeah. But I think the Switch 2 situation will be okay. I have been very casual in my approach to pre-ordering them, where I've not got like the stock check. It's much harder to get Pokemon cards than it is to get Smiths to get Switch 2s. So I'm glad to have mine. I'm glad I got the Mario Kart bundle purely for the price alone. Like the whole 75 quid game thing, getting it for 30 is a real coup. What do you think the split will be between? Speaking
of which, it's nice to see you can actually race as a real coup in Mario Kart. That's nice.
Your mods in Mario Kart, etc., etc. I wonder what the split will be between Mario Kart bundles and bog standard bundles, because
90-10.
Between 90 Mario and 10 normal,
I think basically everyone
if they had the option though.
That's saying it'll literally be people who don't have the option. They'll buy the Mario Kart one until it sells out, and then people have to make do with the other one. I think there's not a person alive who won't want a Switch 2 on day one and not also want Mario Kart with it.
Yeah,
kind of.
Especially
because that's the only first party game that's brand new. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're playing third party games and going, I've played this before.
Here's my 390 quid. Give me welcome to it.
Yeah. A few more. We've done, obviously, we did a reaction podcast, and then we did a pod with Andy about him playing the system. So there's a lot to catch up on the feeds. Some of it's on this podcast feed, some of it's on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, some of it's on YouTube. Go to the site and you'll get a whole roundup of everything. So we've just got a couple of stories here. Second half of this podcast, we took your questions to Andy for a bit of a Q&A. But before we do that, the Switch 2 first-party game sizes have been revealed. I always think this is kind of interesting. Mario Kart World is 23.4 gig in a world where Assassin's Creed Shadows was about 150 gigs. This is great news.
It's fantastic, especially when they said Switch 2 is going to be 256 gig. I was like, and then they're like 4K games.
I thought we were going to go to like PS4 sizes, where like when PS4 came out and Watch Dogs was 44 gigs or something like that. That was like, whoa, what are we doing here, man? But
yeah. That said, Nintendo usually is quite good at, I don't know if it's a case of they're good at optimizing the games, or they just tend to have games that have more colourful and kind of more angular graphics and stuff, and that don't have as much detail. They're saying that Cyberpunk might be on a 64 gig cartridge, which suggests that at the very least it'll be more than 32 gigs. Somewhere in between 32 and 64 gigs, so that's going to be bigger. I think the fact that DLSS is in there is playing a big role in that. And NVIDIA confirmed that DLSS and all this other stuff's in there, so that means the Switch 2 can get away with having kind of lower quality assets, and then the NVIDIA chip will just kind of upscale them a bit on the fly. So you could probably put it side by side with something that's running native 4K assets, and it won't look quite as nice, but it'll be moving so fast that you won't kind of, unless you're a nerd who kind of stands there and looks really closely at the textures, I think it'll serve the purpose for a handheld. So yeah, I'm curious to see. Like I said, they're not as big as I was worried they were going to be. It's like that's manageable.
£75 for 23 gigs. What's that? £3 per gig. I think that'll be worth it.
Yeah, I believe.
How much would you pay? How much would you pay per gig for Mario Kart? That's the question.
Per gig.
A
tenner a gig.
Tenner a gig. Well,
go for it. it's also the fact that it's still bigger than 8, significantly. 8 with all the DLC is like 11 gigs, something like that. So it's more than double the size of that. And you know for a fact this game's going to get more DLC like further down the line. That
the Tour Deluxe, Pass, the World Pass,
the 8 Deluxe kind of felt like that expansion pack felt like, oh shit, we better do something to this. People are buying the hell out of this, but let's see what we can do. You know for a fact the world has been built with that as a plan from day one. We will expand this later with a new map bit or something. This thing's going to keep going. The fact that there's outfits from day one, the fact there's no non-Mario characters, there's no Splatoon, there's no Zelda, there's no Animal Crossing like there was before.
No Dr. Kawashima.
Oh, listen, bring back the brain trainer himself. No Professor Layton.
Yeah. No Wii Fit trainer.
So, listen, you're playing with my dreams now.
Right, do a Ring Fit trainer where the wheels of the motorbike are the joy wheel thing, whatever it was called, the thing from
the ring con,
yeah. I look like I'm just opening a massive arsehole here.
the literal ring con.
Yeah.
But no, so there's lots of directions where this can go in the future, which I think is quite exciting. We'd always been saying before it came out, I wanted Smash Kart. So I'm slightly disappointed we're not getting that, because at the time I was thinking they've ran out of Mario characters. Like, who else can they choose for Mario Kart?
Cow.
And obviously the answer has been, we will put literally anyone who's ever been in a Mario Kart and a Mario game in this thing. So the cow's in there, the penguin from Mario 64's in there. That stupid wee green thing that flips over was in the treehouse that I don't even know the name of it. There's some green thing that spits out coins. That's there.
They should put the like squidgy Mario face from 64 in there, and it moves as you turn corners. It like gets all deformed and stuff. Just
a floating head.
Yeah.
I mean, the outfits look quite cool. I like the outfit idea, and I would imagine not every character will get outfits. You're not going to get cow in a dress.
Well,
because
Peach is already in there. See you later, folks. Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle.
Don't cancel it. But no, so it's. I'm really excited for that. I like Mario Kart, obviously, like most people do at the best of times, but this looks like it's going to be enormous.
Yeah.
And when I was watching, I watched a bit of the Treehouse yesterday. I don't want to watch too much of the Treehouse because I don't want to have it ruined for me.
Yeah, because we'll be absolutely rinsing these when they're out in a couple of months.
Hopefully, yeah. But they showed a bit of one of the race, like the kind of knockout race thing, and that race lasts ages, and I'm delighted by that. I love the idea of a Mario Kart that goes on for ages. Because like when the race ends, you're like for a minute until the next one starts. I love the idea of like a battle royale, essentially Mario Kart. It's funny, it's got me excited about a mode that I hate in racing games. You get so many racing games with an elimination mode, and it's like every time you finish a lap, whoever's on last gets knocked out. And that's the laziest thing you can imaginably do in a racing game. And then Mario Kart's like, we'll do it.
Yes, come on.
Sold.
We'll need to get Patreon tournaments going for Mario Kart World.
Oh, listen,
thousands on the
line. What was it? There's something on that they showed that I thought that would be perfect for the Discord. But I can't remember what it was.
Was it Welcome Tour? We're all going to play competitive Welcome Tour.
We're going to play Welcome Tour together.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to get a wee kind of like one of those wee chats going as well.
Definitely. With those dodgy cameras.
Definitely.
It'd be like playing Uno on the Xbox 360 with the Vision cam.
Sold.
More bits and pieces. UK retailer Game executive says physical Switch 2 games being more expensive than digital is a challenge. This was in an interview with The Game Business, which I believe is some podunk blog run by our former coffee boy. He was interviewing game managing director Nick Aaron, who is essentially a glorified Funko Pop salesman at this point. He says that he felt the retailer's pre-order allocation of Switch 2 hardware will likely sell out in minutes, not hours, and that the price of the next console is really great. I'm sure he thinks that. However, he also noted Nintendo's decision to make physical games more expensive than its digital ones may make things trickier for Game and other retailers. Obviously, the notable one here that has become the kind of running joke is that Mario Kart £75 physically in the UK, £67 digitally. Aaron said, it's a challenge. Nintendo is predominantly physical, and it's proud to be physical. To make the move before PlayStation and Xbox that digital games will be cheaper than physical is a bold move and will be a bit of a challenge for us as a retailer. And it's a tough message for the customer when there's differences in prices if they prefer physical. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm honestly shocked that the game is even going to stock the Switch 2. They basically just sell Funko Pops and Lego and Pokemon cards. I'm surprised that more retailers aren't throwing a fit with their leg in the air about this physical discrepancy, but what can they do because it's Nintendo?
It's a weird one because on one hand, hell mend the guy, because like he's obviously like it's going. We want obviously games to be more expensive so they can make more money, but he's properly monkey pod the fuck out of it by going, "Oh, can you make games more expensive, please?" And Nintendo's going, "Yeah, okay, but
good
we'll
idea."
Make it cheaper digitally. And he's like, "Oh, wait, not like that." At the same time, though, I've been saying people have been saying since the Xbox 360 and PS3 days, when they first started putting some games later on in those consoles' lives, they started putting some full games on the store. Because obviously when they launched, it was just like Xbox Arcade.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Halo Reach or Halo 4 was the first. I think it was a Halo that was the first big one that went on the
ever
store.
Since they started doing that, since full games have been available, physical and digital have been the same price.
Yeah.
And ever since then, people have said, why is digital not cheaper? Because you're not paying for manufacturing costs for the boxes and the discs, the cartridge and the manual when they used to have manuals. So in one sense, it's good that finally Nintendo said actually the digital game is going to be cheaper than physical. But the problem is they've done that at the same time as the prices have been raised, so it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
Like if they'd said the physical version's 60, the digital version's 50, you'd be like, good, finally. But they've gone, actually, no, we're going to ramp the prices up of everything. So it still doesn't seem like that. It's a good news, bad news situation where the bad news is kind of overshadowing the good news. I think digital being cheaper than physical should be the way forward. But
I feel like this is the starter pistol on games having really random prices again.
Yeah.
Especially with Donkey Kong being a different price. Like, I can see a world where I think Sony will maybe with Ghost of Yoti adopt like whatever the American structure is, $80 or whatever. I think they'll do that bump, but also maybe for stuff that they're less confident in, like Saros from Housemarque, I love, but obviously Returnal didn't sell millions, so maybe that's down a bit cheaper. Like, it's not all just going to be this bog standard price across the board. 2K is going to make the basketball game this year will be $80 on everything. That's my prediction.
I tell you what, though, this story today with the game sizes kind of potentially makes it clear why this has happened, because you would imagine that the cartridge sizes, as has always been the case with Nintendo, its cartridge sizes, they have different capacities, and in the past we've seen developers release games with downloadable elements because they want to release their games on a cheaper cartridge so they don't have to basically pay Nintendo more. I wonder if the fact that Mario Kart is like 20 odd gigs and Donkey Kong's 10 gigs is the difference between, say, a 16 gig cartridge and a 32 gig cartridge. And maybe the fact that Mario Kart is on a larger cartridge, they've got to recoup their costs, because that storage they're using won't be cheap. That's very fast, SD type storage. So that might be a reason. That, again, it's not a great. It's no reassurance for us. But it might be the fact that it's gone on a larger cartridge that might have forced their hand a bit.
I could see that, but I could also see when the NBA brings out 2K26. They put it on the smallest cartridge and have the majority of the game as a download and still make it £80.
And still make it 100%. Yeah.
That'd be unsurprising to me. I don't buy any physical games anymore. Obviously, for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC, we get codes, so there's really no thing for buying physical games. Nintendo, I don't really cover stuff outside of Pokemon, so I do have a handful of physical Nintendo games. I would assume I'd maybe continue that on Switch too, but I'm not against the idea of transitioning fully to digital, because for me, I have an OLED Steam Deck, I have the PS5, so once again, the Switch 2 will be a Nintendo system for me just for the
Yeah.
Nintendo stuff, and I don't mind having all of that stuff digitally, but I don't know why, but like I felt like maybe sometimes in the Switch era you could get maybe a better deal, because I feel like I got Mario Wonder physically for like 15 quid less than they wanted for it on the store. I wonder if that was, maybe that's how they're counteracting it as well. It's like, even if the physical version of Kart World goes on sale, it's still going to be like quids in with the digital version.
Yeah.
I don't know. When's XD Gate of Darkness out? That's the main question.
I wonder if they'll start doing stuff like their voucher system that they did on the Switch, like where you could buy, spend £100 on 2 vouchers, and basically get 2 60 quid games for 50 quid each and stuff. I wonder if they'll start implementing something like that just to basically lock people in to them and not go to stores for physical copies and stuff like that. It's curious to see, because that's I think this is where people don't like me. But I don't care. I think the response to it has been a bit hysterical. The prices. I'm not happy that the prices are raised. Nobody should be happy about that. But when you go on Nintendo Treehouse, in every single response in the chat is the chat's just flooded with drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. It's like, yeah, like it's bad that the prices are higher than they are, but also look at the world around you. Like you go on BBC News right now and see what's going on. It's like, what do you expect? It's a shite situation, but Nintendo's not going to take a loss on everything. Just to, as much as they like to paint the picture of your best pal, they're a business and they've got shareholders to make happy and stuff like that. So it's a shite situation, but I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And I think as soon as Sony or Microsoft get the chance, they're going to be raising their prices as well.
If you're angry about this, consider communism and turn towards your employer and ask, why am I getting paid so much less than you are? Why are you benefiting from the fruits of my labour when without the strength of the worker, you would not earn a penny?
Is this one of the questions you asked Andy in the Q&A?
Yeah. Then form a union, solidarity forever. And before we throw to the second half, Chris, we're we're in the afterglow. We're lying there, the two of us on the bed, smoking a fag, cooling down. How is there anything else that you want to chat about Switch 2 wise? I feel like we've had this massive. We've had WrestleMania, we've had the Raw after WrestleMania, and now we're in a bit of we'll have a quiet couple of days before you go and play it next week. But anything else on your mind about Nintendo's new doohickey?
No, I mean, firstly, smoking kills. Secondly, I think I'm excited about it. It's maybe slightly dampened more than in the past because obviously the hardware itself is so similar to the previous one, and Nintendo hasn't done that for a long time. But at the same time, that's exactly what I wanted. So I can't complain too much that there isn't like a 3-screen thing with 5 controllers and a wee willy.
If you listen to Andy, there's still an amazing dual screen expansion coming to that USB-C on the top.
That USB-C opens up a lot of potential future possibilities for weird shit that they can bolt onto it. So I'm excited for that. That wasn't created just with that camera in mind. Speaking of which, that Piranha Plant camera looks excellent.
Even easier to work up your dirt box.
Listen, getting out, that's therein lies the rub, as Shakespeare once said. I just thought I'd add about a class to the idea of pulling a Piranha Plant out of Mars. But no, I'm really excited for it. I'm always excited for new hardware. I'm especially excited for new Nintendo hardware. Mario Kart alone has me like fucking champing at the bit. That Kirby game, even though they showed nothing, Kirby Air Riders, I love Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, so I'm up for another racing game that isn't Mario Kart. I'm up for Donkey Kong, even though at the moment I'm not quite as excited about Donkey Kong.
That's the one that I'm like, I'll probably play it over the summer because there's not going to be a hell of a lot else, but yeah, I'm not dying for it.
I want to see what more it's got because, like Andy was saying, like when I saw the trailer, I was like, I get that the focus here is that you can destroy everything, but what's there beyond that? Because that's going to get boring after 10 minutes. Speaking of which, I saw people on the YouTube on our last video. I don't know if you saw our kind of hands-on video that Andy was saying. because Andy said he thought the destruction was a bit
Oh,
boring.
yeah.
And there's like people who have clearly never seen the VGC before going, I don't understand these guys. You can destroy the world. What's not to love about that? Is that, yeah, but you can only do that for so long before you go, right, I've destroyed everything, now what? So I'm curious I'm dying to get my hands on the full version of that and see where it goes from there, because the concept is fine, but so I'm less excited. I love the design. I love Donkey Kong. I love the character design, but I want to see where it goes from. Although they put in have you seen the Mario Kart screenshot of him dabbing
I did, yeah.
Donkey Kong? It's like, come on.
I mean, if it's good enough for Astro, it's good enough for him.
It's better than that.
Don't think so. Yeah, I'm excited. Honestly, I know it's a cliche, but the thing I'm most excited for is to play those Pokemon GameCube games. I hope they're out soon. And of course, Pokemon Legends ZA. The screenshots of that, I was like, oh, so it's that game. You were talking now.
when they briefly showed the footage during the direct, I was like, right, okay.
Yeah. Looks like
I'm excited now. Yeah, this has gone beyond alpha footage.
Yeah.
This looks workable.
Alpha Pokemon Legends Arceus reference.
Confirmed.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I'm looking forward to getting it. I think it would be really, really funny if all of our Switch 2s are sat in the house while we're in LA.
Don't do that to me. I'm going to be like, because there'll be people there with one. There'll be loads of people there with one, and you'll be sitting going, bastard.
The other part of this is, and this is a bit inside baseball, we're not going to have 2 seconds to even turn the thing on. Apart from it would be nice for the flights.
It's the flight. Yeah. It's for the flights.
Yeah. If we end up getting one for the flight, me and you will do a Mario Kart tournament across the Atlantic and film that.
We
for
do
Patreon.
tabletop Mario Kart. Yeah. That's true. Live stream it. Bring the plane down. Assume the position, Hulk Hogan.
They're shouting, brace, and you just hear.
Final words is blue shell, yeah. That's the one. But yeah. On that positive note, we throw after the break to me and Andy with your Switch questions. For more content, more podcasts, more videos, patreon.com/videogameschronicle. We'll see you after this. How heavy is it? What does the screen look like? And is Cyberpunk the impossible port? These are your Nintendo Switch 2 questions answered from someone who's actually played the thing. I'm Jordan Midler, joined by Andy Robinson. Andy, you're almost home from France. How was your adventure in Paris been?
Almost home in the sense that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been hard work, but it's been fun, right? Well, yeah. I don't know if fun's the word. Satisfying, fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work. It's reminded me of the E3s of old. This one, There's just so much to get through, not just inside the direct, but outside the direct. And then suddenly you're playing a system, within 24 hours. A load of games that you didn't even know exist before then. And it's difficult to prepare.
Yeah.
A lot has to go through your head and be processed at the same time. It's been emotional.
It's been emotional. We asked the Discord members of VGC's Discord and of patreon.com/videogameschronicle for questions about the system that we may not have answered on the 50 million podcast we've already done. So I'm going to throw some questions at you. First one from Kron. Do the triggers have more travel to them than the OG Switch, which were pretty shallow?
They felt the same to me.
Same?
But you've got to keep in mind that most of my playtime was on docs mode on television. So it was only a couple. I probably played a max of about 20 minutes on portable. To me, they felt the same, but I wouldn't take that as gospel and turn it into a headline because it was only a brief session that I had with it. We're going to play it again next week at the London event, so we'll have more in-depth impressions from there, I'm sure.
Nice. Similarly, AirStats asks, How does it feel in hand? Is it a good weight and balance? Does it feel ergonomic?
Again, same caveat, didn't use it much. Certainly, it didn't feel, I didn't pick it up and go, oh, Christ, that's heavy. So take from that what you want. I'm a Steam Deck owner, and I think that thing is big and heavy. And it didn't strike me like that. It was actually, I seem to recall being a little bit surprised that it looks heavier than it is.
Yeah. Do you have, this is for Jordan Midler from VGC, do you have large hands? And I'm not flirting with you. Are you a man with large hands? Because I am.
Probably, yeah.
Because the original Switch got really uncomfortable to hold after a long time.
100%, yeah. It's definitely an improvement for me. The thing that I noticed straight away that is definitely an improvement, in my opinion, is the bigger Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
They feel a lot larger. I'm sure they're not, actually that much bigger, but they feel it. I wrote in my preview that I had problem with mouse mode in Metroid Prime after a while because I thought it just wasn't uncomfortable. Wasn't comfortable. I was having to put my hand in a claw to use it like an FPS mouse. So in the end, I was kind of changing back to gyro aiming. So I guess that gives you an impression of my big old man hands.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Miles564 asks, what did you think of the screen? A lot's been made about the switch back to LCD from OLED, although obviously LCD tech has come on since 2017.
I'm a big OLED fan.
Yeah,
big OLED fan. Once I went OLED, I went full OLED. I replaced all TVs in my house. I am an OLED stan. And so, yeah, I wasn't excited. I'm pretty sure we were the first people to report that Switch 2 was going back to LCD the year before last. And there was a lot of kind of negativity around that. But you only had to play like a more modern device like a PlayStation Portal to see that, to your point, that LCD tech has moved on a lot. And that is not a good LCD panel, that one on the original Switch. So, yeah, if you've ever seen a PlayStation Portal, I'd compare it to that, really.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it's way closer to OLED than you think. Obviously, it's got HDR. It's 120 hertz. It looks good. And it's massive as well. Like, can't be kind of overstated. I think it's 8 inches, is it? It's a lot bigger than that original Switch. There is a bit of. Sorry,
go ahead.
There's a bit of a bezel on it, but
that's what I was actually going to ask. Is that because the bezel on the original Switch is absolutely horrific,
offensive? Yeah. There is one there.
Okay.
I didn't notice it until the photos afterwards, but
yeah, is that just one of those things that they'll never go the full whack, or is it like a cost saving measure? What do you take that as?
Well, it'll be cost, it'll be power. There'll be a lot of considerations that go into that, but ultimately, Nintendo only care about the kind of mainstream consumer, the man on the street.
Yeah.
They're not making this thing for the super hardcore who are going to count the pixels and all the rest of it. If you put this in front of my kids, they're not going to notice the difference between an OLED and this. It is a good screen. It's not like the original Switch. They haven't just pumped it out. I was pleasantly surprised. It's still, it's not as good as that OLED. OLED on Switch is gorgeous.
Yeah, really nice.
So it's a shame in that regard, but it's not as much of a setback as you think.
The comparison to the Portal is an exciting one because I use the Portal all the time and I think that looks great. So that's
pretty much what it is.
Good. Okay. You mentioned GameCube across our coverage. Galaxy ID asks, the Switch 2 GameCube controllers retain the analog triggers, yes or no?
Yeah, it's the same controller.
Yeah, same controller. Is it USB-C on the top? Did I imagine that? Did they?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
It's the same as all the other Switch online controllers where they put extra buttons on the top.
I've not bought any of those, but I will get the GameCube one, I think, because I feel like, especially
the GameCube one to me is the least exciting.
Really? How come?
I guess it's cool in the sense that They've it's wireless with Rumble. I mean, the Wavebird was wireless, but it didn't have force feedback, and that was an awesome controller, minus that key feature. But so I suppose that's cool. But otherwise, it's the most re-released Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
They still make those things. You get them for Smash and all the rest of it. You had to buy, they were wired, and you had to buy this awkward kind of adapter to plug a load of them into the Switch dock. But they've never gone away. They're readily available for anyone who wants a GameCube controller. It's far more exciting for me. Like the N64 controller, you can't get those. You just simply can't get them for 20 odd years. And they get battered easily. Anyone who's used them, like the sticks, just go, very, very quickly. So just even from a practical standpoint, when they re-released the N64 controller, that was the first time in 20 years you could get official parts. It's the same molds and everything. You can take like the stick out and put it into an original N64 controller. So I'm not probably as excited as you are. Well, I'm excited to play the games. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, I'm excited from a pure nostalgia perspective because the GameCube for me, my cousin had a GameCube that I would get like a couple of week loaners of. So I would have like a month of like solid GameCube and then not get to play it for like 6 months and then come back. As long as they put those Star Wars games on it, Andy, that's my number one request. Those Jedi games, that would be fantastic.
I'd say they're guaranteed, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, LucasArts, Lucasfilm, whatever they're called these days, are just re-releasing any old shite, aren't they?
10 more ports of Pod Racer. Next question. Jamie H1224. Did Cyberpunk feel like, quote, the impossible port like Witcher 3 did, or did you think there's more overhead available to run even more intense games like Baldur's Gate or Doom the Dark Ages?
I feel I criticised the Cyberpunk port a little bit the other day or yesterday in my preview, and I feel bad for that because I didn't spend a lot of time with it, and it's clearly a demo. And I also read a suggestion that they'd kind of put the build together really quickly, so I want to play it again next week in London, assuming it's there, and kind of give another verdict after playing it a bit more. Because from what I played, and I was with another journalist as well, as I said, in portable mode, it was like, whoa, it felt compromised to me, in the way that, if you were running it on a Steam Deck, it would feel compromised. Like not, it's not like a bastardization, like, when they squeezed Witcher 3 to run on Switch. It looked noticeably lower res, and it felt a little sluggish. But in docked mode, it looked great.
Yeah.
But and again, like I had the same caveats I did the other day. Like it was Phantom Liberty. Phantom Liberty is only on PS5 and Series X, so that's not even on these last consoles. So this thing is probably like the least powerful system they've squeezed that thing onto. I'm not even sure if Phantom Liberty is Cyberpunk itself even verified for Steam Deck. I'm not sure. But so we were playing in Dogtown as well, which is the Phantom Liberty area. Maybe it's a lot better in like the OG areas, but I'll stress again, in docked it looked good, and you can see that from our footage on the site on YouTube.
Nice. Just for clarity's sake, Cyberpunk is verified as of February 2023. Next question. Mark asks, did you try to take out one of the Joy-Cons? What was that experience like? Did that feel easy enough?
No, that's one thing I didn't do, actually. What I regret, they had a little display area with like all the accessories and stuff. And they had 2 switches there next to the biggest security guard you've ever seen, where like influencers and stuff could pick them up and like play around with them. So I wish I'd have done that, but no, I didn't. I'll do it again next week in London.
Nice. Dusty Hat, were you able to check if there's any more than the black and white themes? Is Nintendo planning to add any more customization to your knowledge?
Well, I actually asked Nintendo this. if you read my riveting Q&A, and they said, we have nothing to announce on this topic.
Nothing to announce. If there's going to be black and white and you will like it. Mr. Dave asks, how jealous did it make Chris and Jordan knowing you were going? There's two different answers to this.
Well, I don't think Jordan gives a monkeys. Chris is going to come to London next week now. Nintendo have kindly extended the invite to him. So he's going to get to play it regardless. But yeah, he's having a right old whinge about my Switch 2 mug.
They were too scared to invite Jordan.
I'm going to smash it on the stream.
Yeah.
Just to assert my dominance.
You mind?
Do you know that's passed down from editor to editor. That is. It was a similar situation. One of my old editors once ripped Miyamoto's business card up in front of me. Like literally, I've never been more stunned in my life. He's like, do you want this? I think he just interviewed him for the Telegraph or something. I was like, no, I've already got one. He's like, well, fine then. And just ripped it out.
Oh my god.
To
be fair, that is like something you would do to me, just for a wind up. I'm looking forward to playing it when I get a chance, but there's nothing really there for me. The only thing that made me shaky was when I had heard whispers that was maybe something Pokemon adjacent there. That would have got me.
Hogwarts is there.
Yeah, but I've been there, done that.
It looks like it was running good as well.
That is that I think that will be the best selling Switch 2 game for quite some time, especially considering how terrible that Nintendo Switch port of that game is. Next question from it's Miyamoto himself. How long had the trip been in the plan? I also see there's a US one in New York vlog. When how long did the event happen after the direct?
So we've been planning it for a good while. The invite came in a good while ago. So the media have known for a while. I mean, you go to GDC, a lot of talk, among press there was like, "Are you going to this? Are you going to that?" Even though they weren't supposed to talk about it. What was it like? They've had it on, because you've got to keep in mind it's basically like, it's not a bespoke event. It's like early access to the public events that they're holding. So the first one in Europe is here in Paris, in France. The first one in the US is in New York. 2 days after the direct. So it's today, I believe, that it opens here, the 4th of April. So I could walk across the street and actually have a look and see all the public going in probably. So we got early access to that. So it wasn't kind of like a one-off, one thing. They had like a couple of waves of sessions, like in 4-hour blocks. So some people went in straight after the direct on Wednesday, and then we went in on Thursday morning, and then some people went in. I think influencers went in after us once the embargo had cleared, so they could stream and stuff. So yeah, it was a couple of waves.
Are we getting did you do more vloggy content other than what we've already posted? Is that going to come to patreon.com/videogames or something?
Yeah, I took loads of capture. I don't know how much of it was interesting. I'll chuck something together for the Patreon. It's just you've got to imagine I've been so busy.
Yeah.
So these vlogs just end up like just being me in despair. It's loads of clips of me just suffering.
Walking around hotels. Don't worry, mine is the exact same. It's you only get a bit of peace when you're standing in a lift where you can just be with your own thoughts. A few questions about this. How did the sticks feel? What is did the Hall effect rumor ever come to fruition? Are they talking about this?
We actually put a story up last night on VGC because I also asked Nintendo this, and they told me the control sticks for Joy-Con 2 controllers have been redesigned and have improved areas such as durability.
Improved areas.
I mean,
nice.
it's clear as mud, but that's one of the clearest answers they've given, to be fair. There was a chap, like some forum leaker, I can't remember what it was, whether it was Reddit or whether it was like one of those Chinese forums, earlier this year, and who was like leaking stuff. You remember like the start of this year and last year where everything was leaking left, right, and centre about this console.
Yeah.
When it was clearly in it being manufactured. There was a guy who correctly, like retroactively, people went back and looked at all his stuff because a load of his stuff was correct, like the logo, the colours, accents underneath the sticks, like bits and bobs like that. And he said there was Hall effect sticks. So there's a chance there yet is. I would be kind of stunned if they haven't done something to try and prevent that, because that's money out of their pocket. There's a lot of repairs. They were giving unlimited repairs in the end for people who suffer from that. There were unsuccessful lawsuits, and so I think that we could yet find out that there are, because the other thing is, even if there are, I don't think the fact they've not said anything means anything at all, because I don't think Nintendo would talk about something like that. It's a feature, again, like man on the street does not know what Hall effect sticks is, probably doesn't care. It'll be something that someone finds out when they get their hands on it.
And they rip it apart. Speaking of ripping it apart, we often talk about how the original Switch felt like it came from AliExpress. Does this feel a bit nicer, build-wise?
I was really surprised, right? Because I watched Kind of Funny. I watched some impressions from other press, and the Kind of Funny guys weren't impressed at all with the how it felt. And I couldn't disagree anymore. Like, I thought it felt premium. It looks premium. It felt like a device that's exactly what it is, like a second attempt at a concept, you know, with a bit more time, a bit more knowledge. It looks like a bespoke console, whereas the original Switch looks like something off of AliExpress. To your point, it did. It looked like it looked like some like generic screen that they got in bulk off there. And then they've like awkwardly, you know, attached these rackety controllers to them. I thought the Joy-Cons felt a lot better. The buttons and stuff like that are the same ultimately. I mean, you're not getting like a lot of like hardcore gamers these days are used to like the £200 premium controllers, you know, the DualSense Edge and the Xbox Elite that have got like, you know, rubber on them, and, you know, these nice feeling soft touch buttons, and, you know, you're not going to get that. It's not a premium device in that sense. But I've definitely felt I thought it felt a lot better. I thought the Pro Controller felt a lot better as well.
I'm excited.
It's like they're using some sort of like softer plastic or something on it.
Excellent. I'm just glad they're not going back to, was it the Wii U Pro Controller that was glossy? So you used it for 1 minute. Oh
yeah, that thing's scratched to shit in my house. Yeah,
it's like the top of a fat PS3. Final Discord question. Where was Xbox and Phil? How long do you think it is before they come out and say all our stuff's coming too?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, you're muted.
Am I?
You're back.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. It's a good point. I don't know. My guess is they'll have another big direct before it comes out, and then you'll get another wave of games. There's a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, where are the Assassin's Creed games?
Yeah.
You know, Ubisoft is, you know, they're putting everything on this thing. Square's putting everything on this thing. You know, they've just obviously saved the big titles, you know, for this direct. So I think you'll get a big wave of stuff.
Another direct that's just an hour-long montage of third-party games coming, and it's just us going, oh, that one, oh, that one, oh, that one. Yeah, I think
because we're still missing Mario, right?
Yeah, Mario.
I'm still convinced there's a Mario. I'm pretty stunned, to be honest, that that they've not at least acknowledged a Mario game coming. I'm pretty sure the second movie is out in a year, so they probably want to have something around that. Don't know.
Yeah. Patreon.com/videogameschronicle. We got a couple of questions from our supporters. Michael Almond asks, are Switch 1 peripherals Pro Controller except compatible with Switch 2?
Yes, apparently they are.
Yeah, they are. Pokeball Plus
Conversation
still going. Yeah. There's a FAQ on Nintendo's website showing what is and what isn't. For example, someone asked about the dock. The docks aren't cross-compatible. Even the HDMI cable from the first Switch isn't compatible because you need a high bandwidth one to do all the fancy stuff. Imran Khan asks, how annoying is the C button placement? Will it be pressed accidentally during play?
I didn't even notice it.
Okay. It's like
I mean, the Joy-Cons are a lot taller this time.
Okay.
Excuse me, and the sticks are a lot bigger. So I think that might be less of an issue on this one.
Yeah. I don't think you got a look at this, but was there any indication of changes to the eShop or any of that kind of stuff?
I'm pretty sure there's some footage doing the rounds. I mean, I didn't see any of that stuff. There is some footage doing the rounds that shows that it is. It looks very similar like the rest of the UI, but I believe the system producer and the director spoke to the US press this week, and they kind of stressed, quite hard that improving the speed of the shop was a priority for them. Like, apparently it was a notable thing that they said. Like, the rest of it was very on the fence. So fingers crossed, because that thing is atrocious, right, on the original Switch. So they're running it on air.
Doesn't help that they let anyone release AI crap every single week, so there's 40,000 games there, but it'll be interesting to go back to the early days of the Switch 1 when there was like 10 games on the eShop. Like, if you can just filter for Switch 2 stuff, that'll be interesting.
That's the thing, isn't it? Is that this is their PS4 Xbox Series X transition where generations are done, right? Yep. You turn this thing on and all your stuff will be there, and you'll be like, oh. And then you go in the store, and it's not, those days are gone where you go in the store and it's like, there's 10 games. Yeah. So they're all, extra importance is placed on all of them. I'm going to give that a go. No, there'll be the same old, kind of piles of slop.
Tom94 asks, I've not seen much chat about this. What sort of battery life are we looking at? Nintendo's being kind of strange about answering this question, because I suppose
I think they have answered it.
It says 2 to 6 on the website, but that's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, but you can only compare it to what they've said in the past, basically.
Yeah.
Compare their metric to their metric. I'm pretty sure that's what they said about the original Switch, like the LCD launch Switch. So that's tough going as well, right? That is, when people talk about like the specs that this system's got, and all the rest of it. But the biggest bottleneck for Switch in terms of how games run is that the battery needs to last.
Yeah.
They can't throttle this thing. You could probably get Cyberpunk running like even better, but the battery life would last 30 minutes. Yeah. It's tough going for them to get that power draw down.
The thing for me is that obviously there's not different SKUs price wise other than the bundle with Mario. I would pay for a more expensive one that could last a bit longer, because it's always I'm rarely if I'm going to use the Switch traveling, it's like a plane, so I'm wanting that longer battery life.
I wonder if you'll get accessories now though.
Yeah.
Because there's the USB port. I mean, I suppose it doesn't make a bloody difference whether it's on the top or the bottom if you're using it portable, but it does if you're using tabletop. I mean, for my Steam Deck, I've got this mental massive battery. In fact,
Andy, I've got some breaking news. Amazon.co.uk, congratulations, you're invited to buy the Nintendo Switch 2. Here we go. Come on now. Amazon pre-order confirmed. Breaking news. I'm so happy about that.
It's only confirmed when you buy it, right?
I'm as soon as this finishes, I'm going to go buy it. Make sure it's delivered to my house by 7 a.m. because I will be at Glasgow Airport, so hurry up and get it bought.
I haven't got an invite.
Well, sorry to hear it.
Thanks, Nintendo. And Amazon. And the money I spent on Amazon.
I know. It's the Mario bundle as well. Excellent. To your point, a big kind of thing that gloms onto the
so
back
this is my Steam Deck thing, right?
Yeah.
So that plugs, like, it's massive. It plugs it's magnetically attaches to the back.
Oh. I had one that was like it clawed on to either side of the back, but it made the Steam Deck, which is already extremely heavy, even heavier. How is that?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, it is stupid. You can magnetically put that thing on the back, but I don't know why you would, because it turns it into a weapon. You're better off having it like in your pocket or down. If I was on a plane, I'd have it, connected via wire. But those are the situations where you're going to want more battery, right? If you're on a plane or something, so you can plug a battery like this into it, I'm assuming, and charge it up.
Okay.
Because it isn't the problem. Someone's going to correct me. One of the listeners is going to correct me. I don't even know if you can charge Switch whilst playing.
No, you definitely can. You definitely can. Yeah.
Shows you how often I've done that. The battery life on Switch, I don't think the battery life on Switch has ever died for me.
No?
Especially OLED. I mean, I had one flight where I played, because I was reviewing Advance Wars, so it was a flight back from Japan, and I played it for the entire flight.
I think Pokemon, especially base Scarlet and Violet, had died on me. Yeah, I suppose my worry is the amount of times I've got on a flight and the in-seat power doesn't work. That's my number one fear. So, right, we need to get out of here soon enough so I can go and buy my Switch, because I've actually had 2 invites across 2 different email addresses. Are
you taking the mickey?
No. Interesting point from Stephen here. Where am I actually supposed to use these mouse cons? Is Nintendo planning to sell a gleaming white couch height table for all their demos? If they do, how much more than $1,000 will that cost? So obviously,
well, apparently they were telling media that you can use it on your leg.
That's what my thought was going to be.
I didn't know that. I wish I did, because I would have tried it. But I did see people there who were like, I was like, what are you doing? Because other people would have it on the desk, and then someone else had it like down by their leg, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But apparently you can use it on your leg. I don't know why you would.
And maybe an arm of the couch type deal. I know some people play their actual PCs like that on the arm of the couch. So
yeah, I'll be interested to test that out.
Before we wrap up, I want to get your vibe check now that we're not in the excitement of the Direct, not in the excitement of playing it. How are you feeling overall about the Nintendo Switch 2, which I have just confirmed my order for on Amazon.com?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's still more to find out, and I think it will become clearer. I think there'll be another Direct. I think they'll talk more about the games coming like a bit further out, and that's what I want to understand. I think you're not going to know how good a lot of these games are until we get to spend more time with them, because I think the value, they're hard to demo games. Something like Donkey Kong, something like Mario Kart, they sell on their scale, basically. Mario Kart is now this free roaming thing, which is obviously tough to experience in a quick 10-minute demo. So I think there's questions to answer there on just how good they are. I think there's questions to answer on whether their new gimmicks are just gimmicks.
Yeah.
Or whether this is just a better Switch. And also, whether that's necessarily a bad thing, that it's just a better Switch, because this thing's now going to run all these third-party games well. It's opened the door for so many great games. Like, it's now a legitimate, platform to play Elden Ring and Final Fantasy VII Remake and Yakuza games and all of these kind of great kind of franchises that otherwise you'd have to have take your big old clunky Steam Deck with you, or be tethered to a television. So yeah, time will tell.
Time will tell. Well, thank you for watching this Q&A on the Nintendo Switch 2. If you're listening to VGC the Video Game Podcast, thank you for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you next week. I'm sure there's more Switch 2 to talk about. Next week, neither Andy nor Chris will be here, so we'll get some friends of the show. But until next time, say goodbye, Andy. Oh, he's unmuted. He's unmuted.
So I was muted and I was on Amazon. Goodbye.
Please come home. Get home from France safe. We need you. Especially during this Switch 2 era, because there's so many shitey RPGs we need you to review. Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, and we'll see you next time.